Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLuxGiven, and today we are going to be taking a look at a game with Apocalypse that has a super strong finish. We're going to be assembling the Exodia treasure trifecta, and this is actually the first time I put together that treasure combination in a proper game of Storybook Brawl. All of the other games where I've put together an Exodia comp, it's been in Storybook Brawl 99, but this will be the first time that I actually have a normal game of Storybook Brawl where I'm able to grab a Mimic Chest, Ninth Book of Merlin, and Radiant Prism. And one of the reasons I'm able to do so in this game is because Apocalypse is just so strong if you can make it to the end game, and it makes it really easy to grab some of those high-level treasures when you have so many high-level units at the late stages of the game. We also have a pretty strong early game, though, with this Apocalypse. Getting to pick up this Genie's Wish here. Unfortunately, we would have been able to just pick up this whole shop if we had cast the Genie's Wish first. I didn't really want to get a free roll. I just wanted to, I don't know. I mean, I wind up regretting it afterwards, so maybe I should have just gone for the Genie's Wish first. But now that I didn't get the Genie's Wish first, I actually don't think I want to lock onto these two units. It would be sweet to pick them both up on the cheap, but we're going to be able to buy 2 units next turn regardless, so I just want to be able to make sure I'm picking up a good tier 3 unit along with like any other tier 2 unit. And unfortunately we'll let my opponent's Brave Princess get a little bit wild there, but this shop looks fine. We can either pick up the Prized Pig or the Mummy, and then we can pick up the Black Cat along with that. And then I'm also eyeing up XP, because XP is always good on Apoc. Now, I don't think I want to cast it just yet, and that's for 2 reasons. The first of which is we want to make our board a little bit stronger, so let's get to 7 units, but we still have these Polywoggles on the board. So if instead we just play both of these Polywoggles backlined this turn, then maybe next turn, or in this combat rather, we'll be able to slay with one of these Polywoggles, and that could help us win the combat next turn with that tier 4 unit. So that's kind of what I'm going for on this one, and it's very close, but we actually do wind up getting a slay with one of our Polywoggles. So now we've got a monster book, and that's just going to make it that much easier to win the combat this turn and get that extra bonus XP from the Wish Upon a Star. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make that a possibility, and I'm thinking 2 things here. First, I'm thinking that maybe we could sell this Polywoggle and one other thing and buy something from this shop to get a little bit stronger. And the other thing that I'm thinking is Monster Book has a 50-50 chance when you are level 3 to cast Falling Stars. It will either cast Falling Stars or Earthquake. So I don't really want a Polywoggle and a Black Cat, all of these things that are just going to die to Falling Stars, and maybe, I mean, we still have the Mummy and the Sherwood Sure Shot. Both of those things could still die to the Falling Stars, which is why I'm just putting them a little bit first. But I'm still keeping this Monster Book frontline. Now, it works out very well for us here that we take out everything else from my front line first, so we don't really have to worry about it, and then we wind up casting an Earthquake anyways and are able to deal with that donkey there too, so we get the bonus XP instead of my opponent on this one. And now I'm just looking for different ways to continue to be strong. We could go for Queen of Hearts plus Cat's Call. That would make us strong this turn, but it's not really going to make us super strong in future turns. So instead, what I'm thinking is Lady of the Lake is just the most stats for the current board. We'll use that to support our 2 biggest options. And then from there, I'm going to sell off 2 more things, and I'm going to pick up Feasting Dragon. And overall, this just contributes to the most possible stats on the current board, and that is why I'm going to run it. Now, we could switch the Wizard's Familiar and the Vampire, but I think that this is probably the best lineup. And then wind up putting the Baby Dragon in the front row instead. And the reason that I do that is because I want the Monster Book to definitely die before the Wizard's Familiar dies, just so that way we get a little bit of scaling. Now, it's not going to be enough. We are going to lose to this Geppetto, but we are still up 2 XP. So we're doing pretty good, all things considered here. I'll pick up another Lady of the Lake, and then I'm going to do some rolling here and pick up a Chupacabra. There was one other option worth considering in this shop, and that was Sleeping Princess plus the Sugar and Spice right next to it, just to grab a 9/9. I think that would have been fine, but Chupacabra I feel like is going to work well to just be a good enough unit at this stage of the game. Everybody else is on 4.0 right now, so it's not too late to be picking up Chup. And we do have the now buffed up Chupacabra and Feasting Dragon, so wanted to try out both of those units as well. They're a little bit stronger in this patch. It's just going to make them a little bit more tempting. And when you can put Chup in front of two ranged units, it's pretty good. But yeah, also just fun to try out the units that were recently buffed on this patch and see what we could do with those. So Feasting Dragon, unfortunately not going to get a Slay. Wizard's Familiar going to die before the Monster Book. And we don't have a great combat. We take 12 damage down to 21, but we're almost there. We are on 5.0. Basically from here, what we want to do is we want to lock onto an XP spell next turn. And this turn, we just want to get as strong as we possibly can. So I think Gloves of Thieving is a really good pickup here. And once we have the Gloves of Thieving, I'm pretty tempted always to just pick up a Kidnap. And this will make us quite strong, I think, for next turn. And then from there, we could just roll for XP. I won't have to worry about purchasing anything next turn. I'm just going to take the 2 units that I get off the Kidnap and the Gloves and hope that that's enough. And maybe if it's either a unit that we already have a copy of, that'll triple up, or we'll steal an upgraded unit, or we'll potentially complete another treasure next turn, depending on what we wind up picking up here. But we might have to get a little bit stronger. It does depend a little bit on what we steal, but I'm feeling okay here. We'll see if this Chup is able to slay, and it is. And I believe, you know what, I'm actually going to run that back because I believe that it was only able to slay... Okay, no, this donkey had 6 health. So old Chup would have slayed there too, but new Chup is able to slay, and that is sweet. And then we just have to battle through this soul tack that my opponent has, and unfortunately, we're not able to do so. The Fairy Godmother, just a little bit too much stats for us, so they get a bonus XP. That Snow Angel, definitely high rolling. They are on 6.0 already, and we stole Donkey from them, which is like the worst thing that we could steal because I don't really need a tier 3 treasure. It's not going to be that much power at this point of the game. So I just wind up rolling down fully and looking for some XP to lock onto for next turn. And I find absolutely nothing. I do consider here that we could like play the donkeys in front of this Lady of the Lake, and maybe that'll be enough. And then I put the Monster Book in the first slot. Maybe this could work. Now I actually want this Monster Book to cast Falling Stars on these donkeys. But yeah, donkey's always kind of weird, and we'll wind up having like too many board slots, as you'll see. So it won't work out super ideally for us, and won't be super great. But hopefully next turn we can find some XP, turn up to level 6, and go crazy with Apoc. My opponent is actually going to cast some Falling Stars, but so are we there. Then the donkeys are going to take some more hits while my board is full. So a little bit awkward, and looks like we will wind up just barely losing this one. We take 7 down to 7, but if we can find some XP this turn, we'll be level 6, and that is a huge power spike that can still pull us out of the game right now. So that's the plan, as much as we can not really plan around that at all. And I do actually wind up finding some XP. So I'm going to sell off my entire board here, and then the end on Lady of the Lake. That's going to put me back up to 11. Give me a board full of tier 6 units, and we got 3 trees. We also have a Geppetto and a Bearstain and an Oni King, which aren't really synergistic with anything else we got going on, but we've got 3 trees, and that's definitely the start of a really nice comp here. Don't really feel super inclined to go any good boy routes, but another Green Knight seems pretty good, actually. So I'll play the Green Knight, and then the other thing that I'm looking to do here is put the Oni King closer to the front. So I think that the best slot for Oni King is going to tend to be, and it's going to depend on what else you got, but typically that's slot 5, so it can potentially double attack. And then we have 2 options for what we could put in between both of those Green Knights. We either want to double support the Hercules, so it's got a little bit more staying power, or we want to double support the Ashwood Elm just to give us a little bit more stats. And I go for the stats, and both going for the stats on the Ashwood Elm and the Oni King in position 5 were both really crucial in allowing us to win that combat and deal some damage to my opponent. So that was really sweet. And then I'm going to wind up picking up a Lancelot here because we can auto-activate that. So we're going to, instead of going for just stats this turn, go a little bit back and try to get some scaling on this board. That does make us a little bit weaker for the turn, but ultimately I think that this board is still powerful enough that hopefully we won't die and we can turn this into something really strong. Find some treasures, find a little bit more sense of direction. I definitely feel like I want to play trees at this point in the game, but we'll have to see where the cards fall if I'm able to pick up an Echowood soon and actually move into some trees. Interestingly, we did see some more Lordies. I tend not to go into dwarves on Apoc, though. It certainly can work. I have had that work for me in the past. This battle, going to be very, very close, and we're going to take 10 damage going down to 1, but we are alive, and we've got some really interesting options for here. First off, we stole a happy little tree from my opponent, and there's an Echowood in the shop, so we can definitely go into trees. And with that, I feel like there's a good argument here to just pick up Evil Eye, double the supports on this double supported Ashwood Elm, and really just have some large trees. And from there, I'm thinking maybe I don't need the happy little tree. We've got 7 gold this turn, so if we sell, or 7 gold right now, so if we sell 5 things right here, we can knighthood. And I think that this is strong enough. I think that this is actually a stronger board than just playing the happy little tree in this slot, because now the Ashwood Elm is going to give plus 70 attack to all of my trees, or I'm sorry, plus 140 attack to all of my trees, which is also going to be plus 140 health to both Burning Tree and Echowood. So I think that that can really pay for itself, and then hopefully we can steal some more trees with these Gloves of Thieving with anybody else that might be playing some trees. From this Trophy Hunter, we are going to get a Monster Book, but importantly, we're going to deny any and all slays from this Trophy Hunter. The Monster Book is not going to be able to get through our trees. That is going to amount in a win. And honestly, an upgraded Monster Book is a fine unit. It's not super exciting, but I'll take it as far as just a random unit that we could steal. Could have potentially picked up a Medusa there as well, or there, but I'm going to wind up rolling past those things and really just hunting for these trees and trying to go more heavily into this strategy. I feel like we're set up well for it, and then we also have the Hercules, which is building towards another tier 6 treasure, and that's probably better than just picking up a bunch of scam-related things like pumpkins and Medusas and apple trees, stuff like that. I think that we can get by with this current board, especially up against the Ghost, and then we will hope to pick up some more trees. I could honestly even see putting Hercules in between both of the Green Knights just for this turn, just up against the Ghost, but I think I'm glad that I don't do it because, oh no, this Geppetto isn't super strong, but it's a Geppetto actually. So with Geppetto, we are going to be totally fine. Hercules gets an easy activation there, and ultimately this battle is a pretty easy win. We just gotta clear out these little piggies and we are on to the next one. So we get our tier 6 treasure, and Mimic Chest can do some really, really sweet stuff. The Arc and Spear of Achilles, not really what the doctor ordered in this case, but Mimic Chest with the double from Evil Eye will now just mean that our Ashwood Elm has so much stats on it, now giving plus 188 attack to all of my other trees, which is plus 188 health to both of my burning trees, and then you double that again for the Echowood because I have the 2 burning trees. So that is going to be plus 376 health on the Echowood. really, really strong stuff. I'm also just going to play the Monster Book as my last unit, and then I'm going to cast Kidnap as my spell for the turn. And now we've got Kidnap, Gloves of Thieving, and the Mimic Chest for the Gloves of Thieving. So we're going to steal 3 copies of whatever we steal this turn. Unfortunately, it wasn't the tree, but we are going to steal an unupgraded Aeon, which means we're going to get a huge upgraded Aeon and a tier 5 treasure this turn. So there's a lot of really, really powerful stuff that we can still do with that. We're going to pick up this last Aeon from the shop. That's going to give us an Aeon with 300 attack. And all of a sudden, we are looking pretty good. I go for Staff of the Old Toad here and toss the Gloves of Thieving, and it would have been fun to hang on to Mimic Chest plus Gloves of Thieving for a little bit longer, but I knew I didn't really want to steal anything from Peter Pants, and I actually have no clue what this Snow Angel is playing. We haven't played up against this Snow Angel since 5.1 when they beat us with the Wish Upon a Star, so I actually have no clue what they're up to, and I'm not going to worry about it really. I am just going to wind up picking up the Staff of the Old Toad so that I can try to find some more tier 6 upgrades, either Burning Tree or Green Knight. Find the Green Knight, and I'm not going to turn down a Phoenix Feather at this point in the game. Phoenix Feather plus Mimic Chest is just a whole bunch of stats. It's going to double summon this Echo Wood and just be really, really strong for us. We're also pretty strong with this Aeon that we have. That's going to be able to get a Slay and some cheaper spells for next turn. And then we're going to take out Peter Pants with all of those Echo Woods here. So we do have some cheap spells, and I'm also considering that with the doubled up double supports, I kind of like just picking up a Heartwood Elder. So I picked that up before picking up a Drink Me Potion. I don't think I want to pick up another Heartwood Elder though. We just don't need that much. We don't have the board space to play it, so I'm not going to worry about that. And yeah, we'll just roll for some more trees here. Now we find a Burning Tree, so that's pretty good as well, and it actually makes me change my mind a little bit about what units I want to play. I thought I didn't want a second Heartwood Elder, but with the Shrink spell this turn, it just makes sense, and then from there, it just makes sense to pick up the Heartwood Elder, so I'll pick that up, and we could double support the Heartwood Elder with the, on the Ashwood Elm to get the most scaling possible. But I was a little bit afraid because I had no clue what this Snow Angel was playing. So I just wanted to play it safe, put the Green Knight on the Ashwood Elm. After seeing what my opponent was playing, I definitely regretted throwing away those Gloves of Thieving because that would have just been an instant win. But we are still kind of killing it here. And we didn't even use our Phoenix Feather last turn. So I'm thinking Pandora's Box could be kind of cool. We're going to go for it. We'll see what we can make happen here. I'll put the Aeon back in, and then I will cast a... Oh, what is that spell called? Totally blanking on it. Fortify? No, I don't remember. But we'll cast that spell on Ashwood Elm, give it a little bit more stats before locking onto another Echo Wood. And I don't think I can really afford to sell 3 things here, so I'm just going to pick up a Stag at the end of the turn just for econ next turn. But I think that we're strong enough right now that we can bet on this Pandora's Box, because it's going to take a little bit to battle through my opponent here. They still have 21 health. Nobody else has dealt damage to them in a very long time, so this is going to take a few combats. And with an upgraded Pumpkin, they could potentially find a scam or a tie, or at least not take that much damage from us, and that we will still wind up winning this combat, but they will definitely give us a fair fight here. And yeah, take out a few of our units there. We only hit them for 12, down to 9. Then we get Radiant Prism off of the Pandora's Box, and then we find another Echo Wood, so we can triple that up and take the 9th Book of Merlin, because you might have forgotten, but we actually put together the Exodia comp in this game as well. So pretty crazy stuff. Exodia on what is probably the last turn of the game isn't necessarily super important, but it winds up still being pretty powerful and pretty fun. So this is what we will wind up ending here on Exodia on the last turn. I'll just feed the Stag to the Kraken so that we can roll down a little bit more. Not really making super great use of the Exodia treasures here, but we will be able to cast 4 spells off of our monster book, so that's pretty sweet. And then all of my units are going to have a ton of attack from the Ashwood Elm, including the monster book, so that gets to trade for a bunch of stuff there and just cause a bunch of havoc, as well as all of these trees getting to double cast every time they go down. My opponent could potentially scam us here, and they do wind up finding a Cupid as well as a Siren, but Siren is not going to be big enough, and Cupid only takes out one of my units, so we are still going to be able to find the win there. Really exciting endgame finish, I thought, with the Exodia, just to top it off on the last turn, just for that little cherry on top, even though it wasn't super necessary. And then you can kind of see why you don't really find Exodia in normal games as much as you do in games of Storybook Brawl 99, because Storybook Brawl 99, we would have kept going for a few more fights potentially, and it would have been really good to have the Exodia there at our disposal. But for this one, that was it, and that is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace. For my giveaway this week, leave a comment on any of my videos and include the word monster. New week, new code word, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust, to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.